So I wanted to start this video here at Forest Lawn at the final resting place of an amazing storyteller, John Singleton. And I wanted to start it here as a way to pay tribute to him. And to continue that tribute, today we're going to be traveling all around Los Angeles and all the way up to Oakland, California to check out filming locations for a John Singleton classic story, Poetic Justice. Let's go see what we can find. The movie begins with Justice and her boyfriend, played by Q-Tip, watching a movie at the Compton Drive-In. Now all of this behind me across the street, this used to be the Compton Drive-In. It no longer exists, but it was still in operation when they filmed the movie. However, John Singleton decided to film that scene at a drive-in movie theater more than 50 miles away. On April 29, 1992, the verdict was given for the Rodney King trial right here inside of this building, the Simi Valley Courthouse. And at the same time, John Singleton was on his way to Simi Valley because they filmed those drive-in scenes just a couple of miles from here. And there's actually footage of John Singleton standing right here in front of the courthouse, talking to the media, giving his opinion about the verdict. So this area that you see right here behind me, this used to be the Simi Valley Drive-In, and in 1992, it was already closed down, and that's why it was really easy and cheap for them to film here. And so the Simi Valley Drive-In stood in for the Compton Drive-In. And that skyline that you see of Los Angeles behind the movie screen, that was actually just a matte painting. This is it right here. This is where Justice's boyfriend, Markel, this is where his tombstone was. And you can tell because it was right in between McRae and Field. Now obviously they put a fake tombstone here for Markel, but like I said, you can tell that this is where it was based on McRae and Field and Powell and some of the other large tombstones that you see right around it. This is exactly where Justice would have been standing, looking down at his tombstone, and then she turns and walks away. Right over here behind me, you'll find the Universal College of Beauty, and that's where Justice went to beauty school. And if you go behind this building, you'll find the spot where Justice parked her car. Above her car, you see the sign that says Ebony Wigs. Now, unfortunately, that sign has since been painted over. It was still back there pretty recently, but it's gone now. And if you walk down this way just about half a block, you'll find the spot where Justice stops her car to write some poetry right before taking a walk down 43rd Place. The Crenshaw District sign that she passes by was located in front of 4434 Crenshaw Boulevard. The sign is no longer there, and the lamppost has since been replaced. But that sign for the Pet Medical Center is just barely visible when the scene is transitioning. Now this next location is definitely a little bit of a disappointment. In this spot you now have some bungalows that make up a learning center, but back in the 90s you would have found the building that was used for Jesse's salon. And although that building is long gone, luckily the buildings around it are still the same and can still be matched up with the movie. You know what's cool is another thing you can match up is all of the palm trees that were behind Jesse's salon. We see Lucky's car coming down the street right here and then pulling over and parking against the curb because Lucky is about to head into this apartment building to see his daughter. And the cool thing about this apartment building is almost nothing has changed here since the movie was made. When Aisha is trying to convince Justice to ride with her up to Oakland, she mentions that Chicago and Lucky work at the post office on Century and Van Ness.
He works at the post office, right? The one on Century and Van Ness.
It then cuts to a quick shot of Chicago walking out of the back of the post office onto the docks. Now, I don't know for sure that this is where they filmed that scene, but this is the post office at Century and Van Ness. And if you go around to the back, of course, you'll find docks just like the ones that you see in the movie, but I think you would find that at most post offices. So again, I'm not 100% sure that this is where they filmed that scene, but this is the post office that they supposedly work at. Not far off the 10 freeway, right in the middle of Los Angeles, you'll find the home that was used for Justice's house. And luckily, not too much has changed on this house. Right there in the driveway is where Justice had her car parked, and we see her come out and try and leave for Oakland, and she finds that her car won't start. And during that scene, you can see some of the house next door, and luckily that house has not changed either. Now, of course, Justice needs to figure out a new way to get to Oakland, and she ends up calling Aisha so she can hitch a ride in the mail truck. And we see Justice and Aisha come out the front door and then walk down the steps and through the yard, and that's when she spots the mail truck parked across the street, and she starts having second thoughts about whether or not she wants to take this trip. And then it's right about that time that Justice recognizes Lucky, and Lucky recognizes Justice, and they realize that they're in for one heck of a trip. When they're first leaving Los Angeles, we get a shot of the mail truck driving down the street and then rounding the corner as the camera is shooting it from inside of a burned down building, a result of the LA riots, which was going on while they were filming this movie. That building was located right here on the corner of Slauson and Vermont, and it's now an El Pollo Loco. And that scene starts with the camera looking in this direction, and you can see the sign for McDonald's. And then as they round the corner across the street, you can see Pep Boys, which is now Taco Bell. Now, it's not really noticeable at first glance, but if you look really hard, you can see that that Pep Boys was also set on fire during the riots, and the roof is actually caved in. Shortly after their journey begins, Lucky's driving the mail truck and Justice is riding in the passenger seat, and Lucky decides to strike up a conversation with her. And it doesn't go very well. Justice is not exactly polite, and Lucky lets her know he doesn't appreciate it, and things escalate kind of quickly. And you know what's funny is I recently watched this movie on TV, and that scene was a little different than how I remember it.
I'll mess you up!
Damn you, damn you, damn you, witch! Damn you, witch!
But anyways, they were driving right here on Lake Hughes Road in Castaic, just a couple miles away from Magic Mountain. And the spot where Lucky pulls over and drops Justice on the side of the road and leaves her is right over here. And this is it. This is the spot where Lucky leaves Justice on the side of the road. Of course, you can recognize that road right up there, the way it curves through the mountains. That's how we know that it was right here in this very spot where Justice was standing on the side of the road watching the mail truck as it drives away. Right here is where Justice was walking with her bags, saying she was going to walk all the way to Oakland, refusing to get back in the mail truck. And then it was roughly right here where they finally get Justice to stop, and Aisha gets out of the mail truck and has a little talk with her and convinces her to get back in the mail truck and continue the trip to Oakland. So pretty much the first stop that they make after Lucky throws Justice out of the car, the next stop that they make is to get gas. And that was this gas station right here. You get the best shot of this gas station in a deleted scene where you see them pulling in and you get a shot of almost the entire building. And you've probably already noticed that this gas station doesn't look anything like the one that you see in the movie. And that's because they have remodeled it. I was told by the lady working inside about 14 years ago, they had to expand and make it bigger because this entire area started getting populated. Now, you also probably noticed that by coincidence, right there behind me, a mail truck pulled up to get gas, and that's roughly the exact same spot where Lucky was filling up. Pretty cool. Now, like I said, this building doesn't look anything like the one that you see in the movie, but on the side of the building, they have a little replica, kind of close to what the original building looked like, and they told me that that is to kind of pay tribute to the original building. Also, inside, they've got a painting of what the original building looked like, and the lady behind the counter was nice enough to show me an old photograph of what the original building looked like. So definitely, without a doubt, this is the right gas station. Right there is roughly where Lucky would have been filling up the gas tank, and then right over here in this area is where Justice and Aisha were having that water gun fight. While I was here, I of course had to polish off a bag of Cheetos in honor of Chicago.
Get my Cheetos done.
So they're traveling down the highway, supposedly in Northern California, when they suddenly smell barbecue, and they're trying to figure out where it came from, and that's when they spot a sign for the Johnson family reunion. Well, that family reunion wasn't actually in Northern California. It was right here in Los Angeles, in the middle of Griffith Park, at the Mineral Wells picnic area. So we see Justice go marching through the park this way. You see her pass by this building, and you can also see that utility pole. And she then walks right over here in this area where Aisha is sitting on the rocks with another guy. Now those rocks are no longer here, but we know that it was somewhere right in this area because, like I said, we see her walk right past that building. You also see that utility pole, and you can also see Lucky's mail truck parked right over there in the dirt. I tell you, a lot of stuff has been going wrong with this trip, with trying to get to these locations. So we drove all the way up here, close to San Francisco, to try and get to the rest stop that they stop at. It turns out that the area where they're at, where the big statue is no longer accessible. The gates are locked. We asked the bathroom attendant, and he said it's closed to the public now. If you can see right up there is the statue. You see that statue right at the end of the scene. They're sitting at the table and the camera is like up next to the head of the statue looking down at them. So this is the picnic area where they filmed that scene. The table is no longer here, but those benches and that stone planter can be seen behind them while they're sitting at the table. Now, that statue that I just mentioned is just to the side of the picnic area, and the table they were sitting at would have been roughly right about here. Now, you get a shot of the statue at the end of that scene when they're dancing next to the table, and I know this isn't lined up properly, but I just wanted to show that the statue is still here, along with those benches and that planter. I just wish that we were still able to come up here to enjoy it. So this is Pismo Beach, just a little bit north of Santa Barbara, and this is where we see Lucky's mail truck parked by the water, and Lucky and Chicago are standing right there by the ocean, while Justice and Aisha are sitting on the sand, and behind them you can see some sand dunes. If you look right here behind me, you can see some very similar looking sand dunes. You'll also notice that in between where I'm standing and those sand dunes, there's a fence. You can also see that fence in the movie. You also get a good shot of the sand dunes behind Chicago. Now, if you look right over here, again, not maybe this exact spot, but somewhere along this stretch of beach is where Lucky's mail truck is parked, and then Lucky and Chicago are standing right by the water, and this is where everyone is just sitting, collecting their thoughts, and we get to hear what they're thinking.
I wonder if my mama picked up my clothes from the cleaners.
There's a deleted scene where all of Justice's coworkers stop at a little restaurant to have lunch, and that was this spot right here behind me, Alice's Restaurant. Now, the good news is the building looks almost exactly how it did in the movie, but the bad news is they've now got a bunch of tents covering the outdoor patio, so although the building hasn't changed much, you can't really see the building anymore, and you can't get the same shot that you have in the movie. But Alice's Restaurant is still here, and the food must be pretty good because there's a line going all the way out to the street of people waiting to eat. So they make yet another pit stop, this time to stop at a cultural fair, and I had originally thought that that was filmed in Griffith Park in the same area where they filmed the family reunion, but supposedly it was filmed right here at Disney's Golden Oak Ranch. Now, the ranch is obviously private property and it's closed to the public, so we're not able to go in there and find the exact spot where they filmed that scene, but also, I mean, this property is huge. It goes all the way out there, and it could have been anywhere in there where they filmed that scene. I mean, it's really just a grassy area, so it would be kind of hard to tell, but it was filmed here at the Golden Oak Ranch. So I did a little bit of snooping and peeking through the bushes, and I think I might have found the spot where they filmed that scene. So I'm currently standing on Pacific Coast Highway, and down the road that way is, I don't know, maybe like 5 or 10 miles, maybe a little bit further, is the spot where they pull over and Chicago and Aisha end up getting into it, and Lucky ends up leaving Chicago stranded on the side of the road. Now, I've been working on this video for about 2 years, and the thing that's been slowing me down with putting it out is that location that I'm talking about, because for the last couple of years, that section of Pacific Coast Highway has been shut down due to landslides. They say that it's going to open in 2 months, and then in 2 months it says 6 months. So unfortunately, I don't know if we'll ever be able to make it to that location, but luckily you're able to find a lot of pictures of that spot. Plus, I can show you what it looks like on Google Maps. Our next location should be right down here, right down this path, I think. Oh, yep. Gray Whale Cove State Beach. Uh-oh. Go nude. I'm a little shy, but we'll see. Maybe. This is it. This is the spot where Lucky is sitting and looking at the ocean. Justice comes walking from over here. You can see this cliff right behind her, and then Lucky's sitting right over here. All these trees still look the same, but the thing that still looks the most the same, that really tells us this is the spot, is that rock right down there. Too cool. Now, shortly after they leave Chicago stranded, it shows them driving over another bridge, and that's this bridge right here behind me. So we can go over there and take a look at that one, but unfortunately it is extremely foggy today, but what can we do? Justice, Lucky, and Aisha finally reach their destination. We see the mail truck passing a sign that says, "Welcome to Oakland," but that scene was actually filmed right here in Los Angeles. That "Welcome to Oakland" sign would have been right over here in the bushes, and if you pay attention to that scene, you can actually see the skyline of downtown Los Angeles, which you can see right over there off in the distance beyond those trees. So once they get into Oakland, they're driving right here past the lake, and Lucky's trying to tell Justice that he's got a daughter, and you can still match up most of these buildings across the lake. So Lucky finally arrives at his cousin's house, and we see his mail truck coming down the street right here. Now the shot would have been a little bit higher, and also the trees have grown a bit and they now block the houses. Lucky runs up the steps into his aunt and uncle's house, and not a lot has changed here. I can't believe those posts still have the same paint job. Now Lucky comes back outside and he realizes that it's his family in the middle of all the commotion and that his cousin has been shot, and that takes place right here in front of the Oakland Market. We see Lucky consoling his aunt right here in front of this building. Directly across from the lake that we see them driving by a bit earlier when they first get to Oakland is the motel that Justice stays at with her coworkers. The next day, we see Lucky's uncle carrying the recording equipment down the front stairs of the house. He would have been walking down these stairs and then crossed the street right over here to where Lucky's mail truck was parked. And Lucky is sitting in the back of the truck talking to his aunt when his uncle comes over with the last of the recording equipment. His mail truck would have been parked right here. So Justice and Aisha finally make it to the big hair show in Oakland. However, that hair show wasn't actually in Oakland. It was filmed right here in this building behind me, the Los Angeles Convention Center. Now, supposedly they filmed that scene in a section of the convention center that was just recently constructed and it wasn't open yet, making it perfect for filming. Unfortunately though, I wasn't able to pinpoint the exact spot where they filmed that scene because a lot of sections of the convention center have since been remodeled. Now, once everybody gets back to Los Angeles, Lucky and Justice take a little bit of time, and once Lucky gets his head together, he heads over to Jesse's beauty salon to pay Justice a visit. And after they have a little talk, Justice asks Lucky's daughter if she'd like her to do her hair. And while she's doing her hair, she looks over at Lucky and gives him a little grin, letting us know that everything's gonna be all right. So that was a lot of locations. We had to head all the way up to Oakland, California, and hit up a lot of spots in between Oakland and Los Angeles. Some of those locations closer to the water off of Highway 1, and some of them were more inland off of the 5, but we were all over the place. And although they did film in Oakland and surrounding areas, as you saw in this video, some of the times that they were supposed to be in Northern California, they were actually in Los Angeles. And so one minute we would be in Northern California, and then we would be in Los Angeles, and then we'd be back in Northern California, just going back and forth. All right, that is gonna do it for this video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.
Why you don't ever want to have no fun no more?